Welcome into the non-neutral zone. It's all about football with Brandon, Josh, and producer Gunner.
Welcome back in, ladies and germs. Back to the non-neutral zone. I'm here with PG, producer Gunner, and his Diet Dr. Pepper.
Yeah, that's me. I'm here with my Dr. Pepper. I don't know why you're talking about my Dr. Pepper.
You drew it into the attention. And I'm here with Brandon.
What are you drinking today?
Kroger brand drink.
I got my Dr. Pepper seltzer water. I just felt like I needed to show Josh.
And this is no longer the non-neutral zone. This is the weekly drink review.
Yeah. Well, I've got Powerade Power Water here with me. So now
give us a review, Josh. Is that good?
It's new. A good product. I like it. Okay. You know, a lot of times, I work for Coke, and so a lot of times I feel like we put out product and I'm putting it on the shelf, and I'm like, man, I can't wait to pick this back up when it goes out of date. But I don't feel that way about the Powerade water. So, give it a shot if you like Propel. You know, it's a little bit better, I think.
No sponsor.
Company man there.
That's right, company man. Yeah, they pay the bills. They keep the internet running so we can continue to bring you this show. So but let's get into the show here. We got a lot going on. We got the news and fantasy land, all the highlights that we bring you every single week. Lightning round. We're gonna hit a little sophomore edition. That's gonna be fun, I believe. Who's gonna take that leap? Who's gonna have a little bit of a sophomore slump? We'll get into it all. So let's get into the news.
That just happened.
That did just happen. It always happens.
Yes.
First up, we have Frank Gore. He's pulling on the pads for his 15th season at 37 years old. As of this month, he'll be 37 years old.
Oh, wow.
It's crazy. I mean, they say that that your age 30 season, like that's it for running backs. And, you might see some guys push it out a little longer when they've had less miles on the tires, still quite a bit of tread. It's not – all NFL years are not created equally, I guess is what I'm saying. But here we are, Frank Gore, lots of miles later, signing with the Jets.
I mean, he's been around for forever, and he's played in cold weather too. I mean, it's not like he's had the best playing conditions, but he just keeps showing up to work, man.
San Francisco wasn't a bad place to be, but he dealt with some injuries, right? When he was in San Francisco, the beginning of his career, he had trouble staying healthy.
He did.
So it wasn't all easy for him. And
so
we were talking about there off air. Go ahead.
He came into the league in 2005, right? I think. So was he drafted the same year as Alex Smith? So he came into the league because Alex Smith was a 2005 draftee. Fun fact: I was watching the Alex Smith documentary.
Yeah, Alex Smith, man, wow.
Yeah, but
man right there.
Right, but he's been grinded out. Now Frank Gore, man, he just keeps just coming up. I think that's a good spot for him in New York because he can just do some fill-in spot duty behind.
Fill-in spot. He's playing for Adam Gase. That guy's going to be the every down back, and Le'Veon Bell is going to be like looking for work.
He's a third down back now.
Yeah, exactly. There's going to be something crazy happen. The minute they signed Frank Gore, I was hands off Lev Bell because I'm legitimately concerned about it. And
he plays for Adam Gase. That's concerning as is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there was already question marks, and then Frank Gore saying that he wants to play with the Jets because he wants to be with his friend, his buddy, Adam Gase. Like that, that's what he said. So
they're like the same age. He's a little bit older than Gase, isn't he?
Yeah. Was it in Miami? Is that where he coached him?
Yeah.
I guess so. Did. Yeah. So they've got that relationship. It's a little bit worrisome.
Yeah, good for Frank Gore though. Having another run at it.
But what I was saying earlier, like we were talking about off screen, his son starts playing college this year. This fall. So it's crazy how long he's been able to play.
And he's a running back too, which is like they wash out quickly. But if he can hang on just a little bit longer, maybe they can play in the league together.
Heck, they could be on the same team. Frank Gore's on a 1-year deal. He can go where he wants.
Yeah,
he's paid his dues. So.
Out of curiosity, has that ever happened in NFL history?
I don't think so, but I could be wrong. I feel like I've heard some weird stories like about some different players.
That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah. think Brandon's working on it.
Well, while he searches that up, we'll move on. Cam Newton has said he would be open to a backup deal with the right team. Josh, you have any takes on that?
News. Well, that's news to me because I was under the assumption or felt like I had read that he said he was not a backup, like he was a starter in the league. And then all of a sudden, you know what? It's like he got his calculator out and he said, there's 32 teams and you know what? They've got 32 starters. It turns out I will be a backup if I want to be on a team. So, which is, I guess somebody pulled him aside, whispered in his ear, said, hey, you need to take a backup role. Get into a position where when a starter goes down, you're in a position to win. So hopefully he can, because I think he still can play football in the right situation and in the right locker room where they have some guys that know how to handle their business without the they can handle the distractions.
Right, so guys that aren't waiting on
season locker room.
Guys that aren't waiting on him to lead them. That he doesn't have to be the head guy and he can come in and be a guy. So he can't navigate or drive the locker room.
Guy too.
Yeah, he's super talented. Yeah. The issue that I've always had with him is that he takes up too much space. And so if you're going to do that, you've got to be transcendent. Yeah. So I don't think that he's the best guy to be around, honestly. So he has to say that because there's not still a team out there looking for for a starting quarterback. They're set. So I think if you're right, and he could come in and he's talented, a lot more talented than a lot of the current starters. So if he comes in and there's a bump in the road, he could get paid. He could find another role.
He's better than half for sure.
You think
talent wise? When you say,
yeah, man, yeah. Based on previous production, I mean, who knows his health and all that. But yeah, I mean, he's one of.
You said Moe's, so I assumed.
Right. Yeah. So that would be. Yeah.
Brandon, tell me, did you find the same thing? There's never been a father-son?
There's never been a father-son in the NFL. There's been some father-son duos in Major League Baseball, but
baseball. Yeah. That's what I thought. Yeah.
So it would be
Griffey.
Cool
Griffey Jr.
That's the most notable. Yeah. That would be a lot of fun though.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, next up, Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas was held at gunpoint by his wife this week. The Ravens are looking at the situation to see. I can't keep a straight face. The Ravens are looking at the situation to see if he broke any of the league off the field policies. They will potentially void his contract if they find a reason to do so. So, Josh, your background is Dave Chappelle, and this lends to the policy of don't let keeping it real go wrong.
Don't let keeping it real go wrong. Man,
gotta keep it real when it goes wrong.
They asked him about it, after the fact. They asked his wife. They asked him. His wife, she's in the pokey, which, after the fact, she bought him, I think they called it some ice, like a bling, like a necklace with some stuff on it.
I think Brandon and I were thinking of something else since we're Breaking Bad fans. But
yeah. So I think he called it ice. But anyways, they asked him about it pretty much immediately after it happened. And, he just said, sometimes things just don't go the way we expect or the way we want them to. And I was like, man, this is me getting up to the self-checkout and I forgot my wallet with a buggy full of stuff. And he's sitting here he just had a gun held to his head. He's got the same reaction. He says, a cucumber.
These things happen. These things things happen sometimes in relationships.
That's when you're very, very disassociated from the average person.
Well, did you ever see the photos from their wedding? He's wearing the crown and a cape and all that stuff.
Oh God,
I have not. No.
Give it a look-see.
I'm looking right now.
If you want to see,
I got to. So I want to read you this TMZ report on the minute by minute. In case our listener hasn't heard, this is a fun story. You with me?
With you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
I'm listening, but I'm just laughing at these wedding photos.
So the wife claims Earl left their home. They had an argument, and he left with his brother. Then she decided to check on where he was, and she found him through Snapchat. So she checked she pinged his location. Found it on Snapchat. Yep. She found out that he was with another woman. So she uses the Snapchat to track his location to a local rental house. and she called up two other women to help her confront
posse.
him. Yeah, got her posse. So that when they got to the house, they, quote, discovered Earl and Seth naked in bed with other women.
Seth is his brother, just so you're tracking.
Yeah. That's when she pulled the gun to his head. And they say cops say one of the women in the house shot cell phone video of the incident. Please let that make it out. Like, that would be incredible.
Another woman had a knife, like slinging it around. Like,
well, apparently she brought a gun. Like she was ready. If she drove all the way over.
Well, it was a bad situation because he legitimately could have been shot. She took the magazine out of the weapon, thought it was unloaded, and there was one in the chamber.
But there's
God.
So, but he wrestled it away from her. Yeah.
It's one of those things where, she thought, like, I'm going to intimidate him, whatever. He could have died.
She also threatened the other women, pointing the gun at them and yelling, "I got something for all you hoes."
Nice.
These things just happen.
Quote. That's just
now.
phenomenal.
That's what happened. That's the scenario. And then this guy turns around. He's like, these kind of things happen. Like, just another day at the office. Golly, man, I can't imagine living that life where I've had a gun held to my head. And I'm like,
oh, to be a football star.
Things could have went worse. Like,
oh man,
that's fantastic. Yeah,
and they could have gone a lot worse. I mean, all things considered, I guess. So,
I seriously get more upset than that when I get home and they forgot my sauce in my bag from my fast food order. You know what I mean? Like.
Nah, dude, just happens, man. Just happens.
It happens.
Oh man. So if you haven't seen his wedding photos yet, you need to go check that out. Check that TMZ story out just for some fun laughs.
And when you look at those wedding pictures, it makes a lot more sense on why this happened. So yeah, just.
But if he's that chill about it, if he's so like nonchalant about this happening, do you think it's happened like this is a regular thing for him? Like he's used to it at this point?
And usually the cops just aren't involved, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, surely.
I suspect this isn't the first time that he's had an orgy with his brother. I would speculate that this isn't the first time.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but
that's taking brotherly love to the next level, though. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Good. The thing that surprised me the most about it, though, is the Ravens. Like, we kind of got away from the point, but the Ravens looking to cut him if they can, just seems kind of like. I mean,
they're looking for an out.
That's what it seems like. It seems like they're looking to get him out of the locker room, and it makes me wonder if it's his presence there or if it's his play. Because he's getting older, he had that injury.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just where Derrick Henry stiff-armed him into oblivion last year, and it was too embarrassing for the team. But he used him as a lead blocker. So, yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyway, let's move on. That's a lot of fun, but I feel like I could talk about that for a long time. But
maybe we'll cut a separate episode and just go on a tangent.
NFL committee chief confirms that the pass interference replay challenge will not be returning in 2020.
Thank you. If you're not going to use it, then just keep the game moving. Like, it slowed the game so down.
Unfortunately.
And they weren't going to they made it very clear early in the season they weren't going to overturn calls. So
it was embarrassing. It was worse than missing the calls when you sit there, you let America see you walk back out onto the field and deliberately just stand by your call on the field. Like, I'm standing by my guy. He made that call and we're sticking to it, right or wrong. Like, to me, that's embarrassing for the league.
So do you think that this was like a pact, almost like a pact by the referees, sort of rebelling against that particular?
Yeah, I think they got
rule?
ticked off because of the rule being brought into play. They don't want that taken out of their hands or whatever it is. Like, I felt like it was a slight against them is the way they viewed it.
Yeah.
So,
but I think you have to do something to mitigate because that was an egregious call with the Saints and Rams in that game. But they're not all like that. So there's so many judgment calls. Yeah. That one should have been like that was that one was overturnable, should have been like, and it was costly in that game. But like, how do you balance that? I don't know what a solution is on how you balance that and actually, have a
I
rule that
think
they're on board with.
I think that if the refs would have been on board for it, if they would have went out there, if the red flag's thrown, they take 15 to 30 seconds. I mean, look at how the XFL ran replay. They've got the guy in the booth. He looks at it, he radios down. Yeah, that was a bad call. We need to fix it.
Yeah.
Maybe use something like that because they miss some calls, and it happens. I understand. Everybody makes mistakes in their job, oversights, whatever it might be. And there's 1,000 things going on the field, so I get it. But when it's brought to your attention, when the team strategically uses a challenge and wants you to look at it, don't go in there and just throw it to the wayside because that changes the game.
Yeah.
This next story, I don't think it has much of a fantasy impact, but it's interesting nonetheless. Joe and Booger, they're out of Monday Night Football.
They're staying with ESPN, but they're moving to different roles.
Well,
so
I thought Joe and Booger being gone. I thought Tessitore did an okay job. I thought that Booger really drugged the whole thing down, and it should be a holiday when they got rid of Booger. Man, what a terrible decision. They went from the Booger Mobile to put him in the booth, and I don't understand. What kind of dirt does Booger have on ESPN to continue to stay in the booth for 2 years with that terrible of a job?
Yeah. It's pretty widely recognized that he's bad at his job, and it's almost like they know, and it was a comic, like a comedy thing that they knew. And it's widely recognized that Tessitore he seems to be liked better in the college game. I'm not sure exactly. He knows the landscape better or what, but
he's a good play-by-play guy all the way around. I don't have a problem with Tessitore, but I think it was just we got to get a fresh start.
But they say it's coming from within. It's going to be some of their current ESPN crew.
Do you want to hypothesize on who you think it'll be, or?
I think that Ryan Clark has done a lot of ESPN stuff.
He did a lot of coverage on the schedule release the other night. I noticed. I don't know if you watched that, but
I didn't see a lot of it. But yeah, he does.
He does a good job. He's got a good personality for it.
Yeah, I like him, and I think that it may be two African Americans, but I think ESPN is very much gonna they're gonna put a minority in the booth. And it wouldn't surprise me if they try to put a woman in the booth because they want to that's their shtick. But they should just put the best people in it, whoever that is.
Yeah.
Because as bad as it's been.
The NFL schedule was released with a bit of fanfare and received a full-time slot on ESPN this past Thursday night. Any games that stuck out with you guys? Any that you have circled on the calendar?
I know we talked about this off air, so we can kind of go in order. The ones that we just have a few highlighted. I looked in the first half of the season, because I think the landscape could change by week 14, 15. It's not the same matchup. But in week 1, I know you were really excited about that Niners-Cardinals matchup.
Yeah, so they the Cardinals gave the Niners fits in both games that they played last year in the back half of the year. And so, the 49ers have lost a little bit on the defensive side of the ball, and some of those guys are a year older too. And the Cardinals have gotten better. So it's going to be fun to see, if the Cardinals can go in there and just kick the door down. It's not Candlestick Park anymore. Is it Levi Stadium? Is that what it is?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to go into Levi Stadium. If they can steal a win in San Fran, that would be huge. Huge.
And it's realistic. Honestly, I could totally see it happening. And then you have the loser of the Super Bowl slump that comes the following
Super
year.
Bowl slump, baby. Absolutely. It was an oversight for me last year. Not this year.
So do you have where do you have San Francisco ranked in that division? Then we'll go to the next game.
Third.
Third. So behind Arizona and Seattle.
Yep.
Who do you have first? Seattle.
I think Seattle, just based on.
I want to pick Arizona, but
I won't be surprised.
I know.
I won't be surprised. They've done a lot.
I'm excited about that game. The game I have in week 2 that I really like is I'm excited about that first game in Las Vegas at night on Monday Night Football. Drew Brees comes into town to play Las Vegas, the Raiders. Not just Drew Brees, but his whole team is going to play.
I thought it was funny you said Drew Brees, but you didn't say Carr. Like you.
But I think that like I'm so excited to see like what I think the fans are going to be nuts. Like they are like taking on the identity of Raiders fans, and in that dark, Death Star Stadium, I think it's going to be a good experience. Oh, yeah. And the NFL seems to be going
pretty cool stadium.
NFL seems to be going pedal to the metal that we're going to have fans. We're having our season. Let's do this.
And people from Vegas.
Today, though, because go ahead, Gunner.
I was just going to say, people from Vegas. There's a lot of hometown pride. Like people from Vegas are really proud to be from Vegas.
Yeah.
So the locals are going to like really dig into it, I think.
We're just like, I think nobody really knows what's going to happen. So we're operating under the assumption that these games have some sort of semblance of fans. We'll see, obviously.
That's right. Now it's all coming back to me. The NFL had said, this is what we're doing. We're planning on fans. And then there's kind of been like a little bit of an uproar from certain areas, like, within the media, sports media and all that, saying like you have to have a plan. And so the NFL came out today or yesterday and said, we have a plan, but our first plan is to roll with business as usual. So they've got
I think that's reasonable. And they've owned the media. I mean, they had a 3-hour time slot on ESPN. I haven't seen the ratings for it, but I'm sure it rated super high where all they did was release a schedule.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest. I could not watch the whole thing though. Like I tried, and I was just I'll catch it online. Yeah. Because just kind of beating a dead horse at some point. But I get it. There's nothing else. They have to use what they have if you're ESPN. So I will be interested to see what the relationship is like between NFL Network and ESPN after this.
Yeah, because they've done a lot of work together now.
Together.
So I've got a game in week 3, probably the biggest game, if we're honest, on here that everyone's excited about, which is Kansas City versus Baltimore. I think everyone expects Kansas City to be the best team in the league again. And what kind of adjustments to defending Baltimore do teams make in the NFL? And also, what kind of adjustments and creativity does Baltimore bring to another season? So that's going to be a fun game.
Well, if you're just looking at the schedule initially, this is the game you circle because it should be offensive fireworks. Yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. The Ravens' offense was great last year, and the Chiefs' offense has been great for the last few years. So ever since Andy Reid has gotten there and put his offense into place, and then the last few years with Patrick Mahomes, it's even gotten better than that. So, and everybody's going to be excited on the fantasy side. Like people look at games with fantasy implications now more than ever. And so when they look at it and they say, oh man, look, we're going to have, 6 or 7 players that are going to decide matchups this week in this one game. So
I'm pretty sure it's a Monday Night Football game. Yeah. So like, it'll be the last game of the week.
Should be.
Yeah.
Oh man. Can't wait.
And so you had an interesting one.
Last one for me. Last one for me is in week 7. It's Chargers at the Dolphins. I think we could see Herbert and Tua possibly by week 7, starting for each of their teams. And so then we'll get to see like a good rookie head-to-head matchup. There was a lot of conversation. Should Miami go with Tua or should they go with Herbert? And we all know they went with Tua. And we agree with that. We were Tua over Herbert. But, so like I think that's going to be a fun matchup, and I think it's two teams that could go either way. They could go either way. They could end up with a winning record, just miss the playoffs. The Chargers defense is good enough that they could go into the playoffs. They're not they're not winning that division by any means, but they could get a wild card.
Well, and Miami, so I think that's Miami is on the rise, so they could take another dip. They could have another losing season, but I think that everyone expects Miami's record to be better this year than it was last year.
Yeah, 7 or 8 wins is not impossible for them. I think that it's expected. So, and if Fitzpatrick is still the quarterback, then they're, then it's going to be even more expected for them to win those 7 or 8 games.
And I think that does it for That Just Happened. We're going to wrap it up. Let's move on to Fantasyland.
Fantasyland.
All right, so for Fantasyland, we're going to pop over to our rookie rankings on non-neutralzone.com. And if you have access to a web browser at the moment, you could pop over there and follow along. We're going to look at our differences in our rookie rankings. Does that sound good, guys?
That sounds like a good time.
Yeah. So we're going to highlight our biggest differences between Josh and Brandon.
We'll see why you think it's so high, or why you think I'm so low.
Yeah. But again, you could pop over there. We have it up. You can see our ranking, and you can see the average ranking too between the two of us. And anything you guys want to say about the ranking in general before we talk about our differences?
I want to remind everybody that it's easy to get bullish on your opinions on rookies, but man, we've all looked foolish at one point or another where we've said, like, this guy's going to suck or this guy's going to be great. And then it falls apart because there are so many moving pieces, and you could be a great athlete and not be a great football player, and vice versa. So just keep that in mind. So if you're listening and you think, like, wow, like, these guys are idiots, listen to this ranking right here. Well, you don't know. Wait 3 years and then come back and talk to us and tell us we were an idiot then. Hang with us for the next 3.
Yeah,
we appreciate it.
There we go.
It's a pretty solid CMA statement, I think.
but it's so true, and so much of it matters on fit, on landing spot, on coaching situation, opportunity. I mean, so some of your best players and most talented rookies just didn't fall into the most advantageous spot to utilize their talent, so they might not be ranked as high. So all good caveats there, Josh. So are you gonna drive this, Gunner? Do you see our greatest?
Yeah,
rankings?
I got them up right now,
Okay.
and what I think I will do is if there's a difference between like one or two, I'm not gonna like I don't think you guys probably want like
preference.
for instance, Jonathan Taylor. The average ranking is 2. Josh, you have him as number 1. Brandon, you have him number 2. And
it's not a big enough
same
difference.
for Clyde Edwards.
Clyde Edwards, it's flopped. But what I think probably the most interesting one first up is Jalen Rager.
Yeah.
Is that right? Rager? Right.
Yeah, Rager. That's
okay.
right.
So Josh, you have him ranked as number 5. Brandon, you have him at 13. So there's a pretty big spread. The average would be 9.
I think that 9 is probably closer to what it should be, honestly. Like, I think that I'm probably a little high, and I think Brandon's a little bit low. But it's just, man, when I started looking at situation, I was just, it kept moving him up,
Okay.
So you think situation is the spot there, the ideal?
Well, and he's super talented. Like, if you look at last year, I think it was like only 30% of his pass attempts that were targeted toward him were on target. Only 30% is the lowest, or second lowest in college football, or something. It was super low because he didn't have good quarterback play. Yeah. So he's not going to have that problem in Philadelphia if it's Carson Wentz or if it's Jalen Hurts. Like, if Wentz gets hurt, Hurts has also been a very accurate quarterback. So I think if they put the ball in the spot and Peterson's going to get him in space and give him opportunities, I think that he's going to end up being one of the better fantasy receivers.
I don't like hate him as a player. I thought that his landing spot, as much as there's opportunity there, I mean, we haven't seen wide receivers in that offense blossom. And part of it could be, I mean, like, we haven't seen them be elite.
A real talent deficiency there.
Correct. Right.
Those wide receivers.
And it could be that they're because they won't catch the ball. But I think you're right that he's probably deserves to be closer to 9. That's a good assessment.
Yeah.
All right. So if that's settled, I'm going to move on to another one that has a difference of 5. Michael Pittman Jr. So Josh, you ranked him as number 10, and Brandon, you have him up at 15 with a average of 13.
Yeah. So for me, Michael Pittman, I like him as a player. He was actually probably I liked him better than some of the wide receivers taken in the first round, even, I think. But I just feel like in Indianapolis, it's crowded. I mean, they're like, you had Paris Campbell come in there last year and he couldn't get any run. You still have Deion Kane from a couple years ago.
No. Deion Kane is in Pittsburgh.
Oh, he got cut or traded. Did he get cut or traded?
I think he got cut. best I remember.
But I mean, yeah. So okay, well, he wouldn't do anything, but I feel like it's crowded, and I imagine you're seeing him there. I mean, you follow Indianapolis a little bit more, so maybe you can give me some insight on Pittman.
So we
what their
took
plans are.
Pittman over Jonathan Taylor. We took Pittman with our first pick in the second round. So, like there's a need there for our general manager doesn't really make plays like that. He's a guy that likes to build in the trenches. And so with him taking him over some kind of defensive player or an offensive lineman, it tells me that he really believes in Pittman, especially when he loved Jonathan Taylor, as well documented that he loved him in the pre-draft process. So I just think that they spent the draft capital on him. He had one of the highest, maybe the highest catch percentage in college football last year with several different quarterbacks that were not very good at USC due to injuries, excuse me. And so I think there's a real argument to be made for him inside the top 10.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
who did you have above him? So you had Justin Jefferson and Henry Ruggs above him, and Justin Jefferson, he's good. The Minnesota offense though is going to be built around the run, and so is Indy most likely.
Right.
But when you say crowded, my only thing is it's not that crowded. We didn't have the guys that we had there last year. Paris Campbell's going to have a defined role, and it's not going to be the same as Pittman.
Right. They're different.
So
T.Y. Hilton's not the same as Pittman. So who was playing Pittman's role? Who's been playing Pittman's role?
Zach Pascal last year would have been playing in that role.
That's right.
I mean, are you going to play Zach Pascal over Pittman?
I mean, I'm probably I don't think so, but
yeah.
I mean, you know how difficult. I mean, these are dynasties, so obviously, they didn't have to be this year.
Yeah, and then we had brought in Funches as well. He went to Green Bay.
Right, yeah.
And so he's gone now. And he was brought in to play the role that Pittman is going to be playing, the big receiver outside, winning those 50-50 type balls, kind of like the Mike Williams role that out there in L.A. I keep wanting to say San Diego, but out there in L.A. So there are a lot of reasons why I like Michael Pittman. And last year we had so many receivers that could not squeeze the football. They would not complete a catch. So I think
he's going to catch it. He's going
to catch the ball, man. So opportunities will be there.
Next up is Joe Burrows. Let's see, Josh, you have him at 17. Brandon, you have him at 10. So a spread of 7 with an average of 14.
I think this just is about quarterback value. I think I'd clearly value quarterbacks a little bit higher long term, and I think Joe Burrow has the potential to be a next level transcendent quarterback. So I felt like his capital was worth it a little bit higher. But I think if we're talking about
Superflex or 2 quarterback leagues, then I bump him up a little bit.
Oh, right.
I'm still not moving him up ahead of these other guys because you can always trade for quarterbacks or draft.
Correct. Well, and if you are if you're drafting in a dynasty, so these are dynasty rankings. If you're drafting in a dynasty draft, even if I've got someone ranked as number 11 or 12 after Joe Burrow, if I'm set with a young quarterback and a reasonable backup, I'm probably not going to use that draft capital at number 10, although he's ranked there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my whole thing is like the replacement value at the quarterback position is a lot easier to find than these other positions. And so I'm not gonna rank him there in a dynasty league where you're gonna have 30 players on your roster, 25, 30, 35, whatever your league settings are. It's going to be a lot easier to find a replacement quarterback because you're trying to get every running back that you can, every wide receiver, tight end, these thinner positions, you're trying to get them on your roster. So there are going to be a few guys where in a pinch, you can throw them out there if you need them. So, and you can always get a quarterback thrown in on a deal. If you're that close, you know, you can, you know, I need a backup quarterback, throw that guy on my roster. So, those are my thoughts on it. But
I think that that's the overall ranking, but I think that we stand similar in like where we would draft them. And so I guess like if I'm not going to draft, I see what you're saying. And if I'm not going to draft him, maybe I should rank him lower. But I think that's where I felt like he deserved to be ranked.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player in college, and he's probably going to be a great player in the pros. But there are a lot of great quarterbacks, and you can draft Jalen Hurts later. I mean, ideally, you're not starting a rookie quarterback this year anyway.
Right.
So if you draft Jalen Hurts later, then you got an opportunity there for him to grow and be your starter.
Yeah. So let's who else are we different on?
All right,
Where else?
I think the biggest spread you guys have is Van Jefferson. Josh, you have him at 24. Brandon, you have him at 40 with an average of 32.
Ooh, 40.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just like I kept like no, I like this guy better. I like this guy better. I take this guy ahead of him. He went to the Rams, so he's in a good decent offense. But
No Brandon Cooks.
No Brandon Cooks, and so I don't know if there's anyone ahead of him after Josh Reynolds, but I mean he's almost 24. He's been at Ole Miss, and then he went to Florida, and he just stayed average. I mean he had really solid quarterback play at Ole Miss with Shea Patterson, and then a solid quarterback both years at Florida. And I mean, he never did it. I mean, he never did anything. And so he had decent measurables. But I just like after watching, I mean, I saw lots of Florida games, and he just wasn't impressive to me. And so every time I would look, all right, no, I would pick this guy, and he just kept dropping.
Yeah. So the only thing is with it, so Van Jefferson, from a talent perspective, and this is what we were talking about before we started talking about this, is landing spot, draft capital, all that stuff matters as much as talent and opportunity. So they drafted him ahead of a lot of guys that I like better. And then they come out and they say that Van Jefferson reminds them of Robert Woods. Robert Woods has done a great job in that offense. So if he plays that similar type of role of Robert Woods, I'm sure Robert Woods has a year left on his deal. I can look that up while we're talking here, but yeah.
But I just look, and so like as an example, so you picked you've got Van Jefferson 24 and KJ Hamler 25. I'm 100% taking KJ Hamler in that, and now in that Denver offense, it's revamped. Similar to what I was talking about, the crowded situation. It's very crowded in Denver, but with all the pieces that they just recently drafted. But I like the upside of Hamler.
Yeah, so I have Hamler one spot behind Van Jefferson, but I think that comes down to the quarterback situation, because we think that Drew Lock's going to be good, but we don't know it. We don't know. Yeah. He could just regress and never become what he looked like. Wouldn't be that surprising in Denver, would it?
No, but also you think of how quickly Sean McVay went from the penthouse to the outhouse. I mean, what do we think about them long term? I don't know. Like he may not be there in a couple of years at this rate. If Jared Goff keeps sucking.
Yeah. I mean, it's.
I think he is.
I think that having him ranked at 40 is extremely too low.
It might be fair. That might be a fair thought. But just how I got there is he kept moving down, man. I'd compare him side by side, and I just kept moving him. So, but like with most of these, he probably belongs somewhere between the two, like in that average rank, and that's why we do these.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah. I don't know. You got him well below Adam Troutman and Cole Kmet. So I don't know.
Yeah. So but you wouldn't take a tight end like that.
I mean, Troutman, I would consider Troutman especially if we're talking around pick 30, 25 to 30, I would consider Troutman because I think he's in an excellent spot to do a lot of good things. So, but we can move on from that. I hadn't realized that until Gunnar brought it to my attention that you had him ranked all the way down.
It's a huge spread. Yeah. It's a big spread.
Right. So you can check out that list on non-neutralzone.com. Up at the header menu, there's a button for 2020 rookie draft ranking. You can click on that and see Josh and Brandon's ranking. If you want to do a deep dive on any of these, feel free to comment or send us a question, and maybe we get that out to you, an answer on the comparison between the rookie picks. And that does it for Fantasyland. Okay, this is the lightning round, the sophomore edition. Any rules or anything you guys want to lay down before we get into it, or you just want to jump in?
Let's jump in. Just remind me if I start getting carried away. It's lightning round.
Yeah, it's lightning round. Yes or no, or simple one-word answers. No discussion.
We can go back and hash it out if we need to on a couple of them.
Right.
But
Lightning first, thunder comes later.
boom, boom,
boom, boom, boom, boom. All right, up first, Drew Lock or Daniel Jones with a bigger second-year leap. Let's go, Josh first.
I'm gonna go with Drew Lock.
All right, Brandon.
Drew Lock.
Okay. A.J. Brown or DK Metcalf more likely to meet expectations for fantasy in 2020? Brandon.
I'm going to go with A.J. Brown, although the expectations are skyrocketing.
Josh.
DK Metcalf for the aforementioned reason.
Okay. Bigger upside for Marquise Brown or Mecole Hardman in 2020? Josh.
Miko.
Brandon.
I'm going to go with Mecole for that word in there, upside. Biggest.
Okay.
Biggest upside.
All right. Here's this fun name. JJ Arthega. Is that right?
Yep.
I was corrected. I was corrected on it. It's not Arcega. It's Arthega. Whiteside or Paris Campbell will have a higher fantasy football finish after falling flat in their rookie season. Who went first last time? We'll go with Brandon.
Jaws.
Okay, Josh.
That's a tough one, but I'm gonna go Paris Campbell.
Okay. True or false? David Montgomery will outperform Devin Singletary. It's a tongue twister. In 2020, they were separated by only 7 points in 2019. Josh.
I'm gonna say true.
Brandon.
Also true.
Great.
Wow. Did we differ anywhere?
Drew,
AJ
and
Brown
DK.
and DK, yeah.
And then Arthega and Paris Campbell.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I on the Mecole, like biggest upside is Mecole for sure.
Yeah.
In that offense, I think probably safer play is Marquise Brown.
Maybe. I'm not sure. Like if they start getting, we'll know more as we get closer to the season. But if Mecole has a role in the offense, then Mecole's got the highest floor and ceiling, because we've seen Lamar Jackson, his consistency with accuracy is a real problem. And so with those deep balls, that matters. And the thing is, like, they don't want him throwing the ball deep that much. Their offense is predicated around the run and those big tight ends. So there's a serious floor every single week that you trot out Marquise Brown. I had Troutman on the brain. Mecole, that offense is wide open. They want to get the ball down the field.
Yeah, I want some Mecole. And I think you could just pick one with Arthega Whiteside and Paris Campbell. I think that both of them will definitely have better sophomore seasons than rookie seasons. Can't get much worse. But like opportunities is there for both of them, and I think that they'll take a leap.
I got into the JJ Arthega Whiteside business last year in Dynasty, and in seasonal. I picked him up a couple times with injuries hitting, and I think he just sucks. Like, just being honest, like Paris Campbell had injuries, and I think Arthega Whiteside has a real problem catching the football. It's a very real possibility that guy could get jettisoned off my Dynasty roster this year, just a year in. And I don't want to do that a lot of times. I want to see what happens, but I think I know what's going to happen. Like, I think he sucks. I think he hung out with his buddy that was
Nelson Aguilar.
I think they rubbed off some bad habits, and
they gave stone hands to each other.
Yes, I'm not a fan. I hope he proves me wrong, because, like I said, he's sitting there on that taxi squad right now. But I'm not excited.
So then the other one that I'll touch on before we take it to the house, A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf. I know A.J. AJ Brown is
high expectations.
expectations are rising for him.
Man.
But he is a more pure receiver than DK, and I feel like just as a receiver he can grow his craft, and he's more equipped to do that.
So we thought
but
that about DK last year, though, that he wasn't a very polished route runner, and then throughout the season he showed us that he can do more than run go routes.
Yeah,
and if you look at the quarterback situation, it's more proven with Russell Wilson.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Not to say that I hate Tannehill, but
it's a much longer track record.
Yes, and it's going to be a more they don't mind Russell Wilson throwing the ball down the field, and I feel like Tennessee, they don't want to see it.
No, they started to. I mean, with Tannehill, man, like it started opening up. Like you look at their playoff run, last few games. Like there's probably advanced statistic and metrics that we can look at, but like they opened it up. I mean, it was a reasonable.
But it's not what they want to do. Like that's how they beat the Ravens, is they ran the ball down their throat and they played defense, and that's how they beat them. And so when they go back and they look at the playoff film, when they started trying to throw the ball against the Chiefs, that's when they lost. And so if they go back and they watch that film, they're going to revert. They're going to say, wow, we should have just stuck to the run, stuck to our game plan. And that's what they're going to do. And it wouldn't have helped them because the Chiefs were a superior team.
They're just good. Right.
They were out-coached, outmanned. But I think that DK Metcalf –
it's going to be easier for him to meet that draft cost.
And exceed it. Like he's going to return value because he's – I don't know how to say what I'm saying. There are not a ton of targets in Seattle when you compare it to other offenses, but he's going to have the lion's share. Tyler Lockett has shown that he's having trouble staying on the field
last year. That was weird.
They've had injuries.
He was on the field a lot last year, and he was like putting up zeros.
So that's when he came back from the injury, and I don't think he was 100. I don't think he was 100%. I think he was out there as a decoy. Yeah,
he snapped 80%, would have 0 target.
Yeah.
I mean, just weird.
Yeah. So
man.
DK Metcalf is a far more complete receiver than Tyler Lockett, and the offense is going to show that this year. I think there's a pathway for him to, have over 100 targets, and if he does that, he's going to be a huge red zone threat. And man, good luck tackling either one of these guys in the open field. They both came out of Mississippi, and they've shown that they should have been a lot better at the college level. Like not them, but their team should have been a lot better because they had some firepower. Who was the quarterback that was with them in Mississippi? Do you remember?
In Mississippi, Jordan Ta'amu.
That's what I thought. Yeah, and Tiamu's good. So, I just feel like they should have been a better team down there, which I know the SEC is very competitive, very hard to win games, but
especially in the SEC West. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that name, I think about the Beach Boys song. It makes me want to like Kokomo Tiamo. It makes me want to like Tiamo Montego. Oh boy,
pretty mama.
And I think that's our sign.
Yeah,
that's the end. But we want you to join us tomorrow for our short show spectacular. We have a very special Mother's Day edition. Since Mother's Day was yesterday, we're drafting our top fictional mothers from all of fiction throughout fiction history. So it's a fun episode. Join us tomorrow when that drops. Be sure you're subscribed so you know when it drops, it uploads, it downloads.
Yeah,
you can click on it, you can listen to it, and then you can vote for the best pick, and you can participate in the non-neutral zone because we are a participatory podcast. We want you all to be a part of it.
We want your feedback. We want your questions for the mailbag. We didn't have a mailbag this week because we're having a lack of participation from you guys. So that's on you.
Jerks!
Not on us. We can't twist your arm and make you, but we can request it heavily. I've done so. So please, 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 please send us your questions. Desperate, please.
I'm begging you. No, if you don't want to ask a question, that's fine. We'll just make up our own questions. And we'll give us the answers we want to give.
That's right.
But yeah,
we'll give ourselves a real hard pat on the back every single week.
It is a lot more fun though when we have people writing in and we can answer your questions that you want. So yeah, just send us a tweet or send us an email at nonneutralzone@gmail.com. We're up on Twitter and you can vote in the polls. They're always fun. At nonneutralzone1 is our Twitter handle. We have lots of polls that go up and we're always ready and willing to talk. Josh is our primary Twitter guy. We're also on Facebook. You can search for us on there and we can converse there as well. Our videos, if you want to see our faces on YouTube, you can. We record all of our episodes and we throw the videos up so you can see us interact in real time. It's a lot of fun.
Oh, yeah, peep that logo on YouTube too. Oh man.
Yeah, vote.
So
do you like
nice.
the YouTube? We should throw up a Twitter poll for that. Is our YouTube logo better, or the one that we actually pay for better?
Goodness, Joey, if you're out there and you're listening,
No, I think I like the logo.
Need to make
It's
our
great.
logo sexier.
yeah.
But yeah, Josh saw the YouTube logo, which is just a placeholder logo. And he's like, "Whoa, I like that."
Yeah, it's so clean. It's just clean. It's got all the sexiness. It's just good.
Oh well. Anything else? nonneutralzone.com. Rookie draft picks are up there. We got some great articles up. You can always check those out. They're always fun. Anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
I would say in the next 5 to 7 or 8 days, we will have our seasonal rankings going up with all the
it's getting
fun
very-
stuff. Where you'll be able to adjust them. You'll be able to drag and drop, make your own printable sheet that you like for your leagues. And that will be a live document where, it's going to evolve as the off season goes on and we'll make changes and it's going to be a living thing. So
Just like Hillel said, it's a living thing. Yeah, it's coming up. It'll be up very soon. I'm working hard.
hardly working.
I'm going hard. Brandon, you got something?
No, man. I'll see you guys next week.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen and don't fall into the neutral zone.